Hello, so today we will be doing session 5 of the driver framework. And so this session was about real estate and mortgages. So today we're basically just going to be comparing a renting option compared to a buying option. So let's start off. We're going to use the driver framework. So we'll define and discover, we'll represent, then we're going to implement, validate, evolve, and reflect. So let's start here at the define and discover stage of it. So first we need to know what the real estate decision is. So we're going to be thinking about if we want to buy or rent this condo and which would be the best alternative considering the following things. So, and then the true cost, we'll get into that, and then anything, not just money, just that will go with the true cost. So, we'll talk about that. So, let's first define everything we know. So, about me, quote unquote. I'm 28 years old. I'm making 85K a year, and I feel like I'm throwing away money with the $2,200 a month for rent. But we found a condo that we want to possibly purchase. So we have the purchase price, $425,000, the HOA fees, which is just the homeowners association fees, so $350 per month. Property taxes, $5,100 a month or a year. Insurance, $1,200 a month or $1,200 a year. Then the current mortgage rates, we have that it's 30-year fixed, so it'll stay the same over this 30-year. And then I have 95K saved for down payment and closing costs. That will come into play later. So closing costs estimated 12,000. And then you're not moving in 5 years, but you might. So we're gonna do this on a 5-year basis. So, and then the 20% down payment, which we will get to later. And then we have these alternative scenarios, which we're specifically going to focus on the locked rent option. So the 2,500 for 5 years if you renew the lease now. So, and then this appreciation, we'll get into all of that. So let's go into the cash flows here. So let's start with the true cost, which we talked about earlier. So the true cost can be anything that is the actual cost, or let's say even an opportunity cost, like what you're giving up if you buy it or what you're giving up if you rent it. So right here, it goes in for the one-time cost, which would just be the buying option right now, and it also does the monthly cost annualized, which just means all the whole year, and that's for the renting option, or that's for the buying option, and then you'll see, and then the renting option is down below. So then we also have the projected monthly cash flows. So let's start with the renting option. We have 85K saved and 12,000 saved if we don't have to worry about buying it. So we'll have all that saved up right then. But we will have, if we buy the condo, we won't save anything, and we're going to be losing the mortgage, the HOA fees, property tax, homeowners insurance. And so basically the cash flows even out to negative 97K and positive 97K over on the rent side. So now that we know all of the facts, let's get into this. And so the implement with the collab. So I'm just going to run you through my process real quick. I basically just needed the implement stage, so I got it to give me this model, which we'll see in collab here. And I ran it, and it's giving me these outputs here. So it gives you the whole financial summary for the 5-year and scenario by scenario. And I'm just going to skip past this real quick because I found something wrong. So this has the rent as losing 104K over the 5 years, which I thought was fishy compared to this 14K. So I I like just went through it, stayed with it, and went to the validate. So we'll switch over here. I asked Gemini, hey, what's something good to validate it with? So, like this says, real estate websites or online calculators. I used both. So I went to Zillow. So this rent versus buy. So I filled in all the key details, the home price, the down payment, the monthly rent, and then first year investment, mortgage rate, the HOA fee, all the stuff we were given. I filled it all out. And I got a rent gain, which if you go here, this number does not match, and this is saying that buying the condo is the best. So I asked Gemini, hey, like, why did I get these results in Zillow and these results in Colab? So it gave me a corrected formula, which I then ran, and it gives me the both scenarios, same exact thing. However, it just changed one minor thing, and this time it gave me a net wealth change of negative $7,475, which is way different than the 100K that it gave me before. So this one has renting with the locked-in rate of the 2,500 monthly for 5 years. So this has renting as the best scenario, which I was then able to validate with Zillow.com, which is a well-known site. And this is after 3 years, so it's going to be after 5 years for us. But either way, the rent or the year wouldn't matter in this case because it'll always be rent. If anything, it'll just gain more on the rent. So, yeah, so then I went through and I had it work that, throw it in there. And then, so after I validated what I found, I went into the evolve stage, which is how sensitive is your decision to the rate changes or price appreciation. So we worked with the price appreciation, and I wanted to find out the relationship between if appreciation goes down, how will it affect the buying, because rent will never be switched by it. So I wanted to see. So right here we can see that appreciation went downwards, so our net wealth change also goes downwards. So getting that from that, higher appreciation is better for this particular scenario and in general. So if you changed it to 2%, which I had it do with this, it's just another collab, same thing. I just changed it to 2%, the appreciation, and it got me 57K basically, which is almost or a little over $40,000 more. So we go back to here and we see how sensitive it is. It's very sensitive because 2% changes at 40K, which is a huge difference. So if we could drive that appreciation up in our deals or whatever, then that would, or hold off for when the market gets to a better spot where they can offer that, that would be great. So, and then kind of just reflecting on all of this, the hidden costs or benefits. So I learned a lot about true cost because that's something you don't really think about when you're comparing rent to buy. You don't always think about the opportunity cost that could come with that. And then I didn't expect the rent to be a better option, to be honest, because I also agree rent feels like you're just throwing money away. Even though you're getting the housing, you're kind of just throwing it into nothing. So that surprised me. And then price appreciation only affects the buying option. It has nothing to do with the rent, which before this class I had no clue what price appreciation was. So finding out that it only affects the buying option is a big step in the right direction. So overall, I think that this was a pretty successful session assignment because of how efficient it was. It took me a while to do, which gets annoying at times, to be honest, but it is nice when you see the driver framework work out, where I went to the implement and I got to the collab. I got to this one, went to validate, and I found something wrong. So it's nice to catch the AI and its mistakes and fix it with them rather than just trusting them. So seeing the driver framework play out is a great thing. And so just to finalize what I was saying, is that you should rent it because the upfront costs of 97K, you don't even have that saved up. You only have 95K. So starting 2K in the hole is risky in general for buying anyway. So we think that, along with the amount you save, or the amount that your net losing is less than your net losing when you buy, we think that renting is the best option here. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my process of figuring out which option would be better for me in this hypothetical situation. So thank you.